Thank you, Jim. Father Smith gave up professional basketball to become a priest. Father Martin Laboyera was a great soccer player who gave it up to become a priest. He was a priest of the Archdiocese of Kampala in Uganda. He studied theology at Mundelein Seminary. He's an associate pastor at St. Joseph Parish in Libertyville. He is here to accept the Sports Faith Father Smith Award.
These are some of the times when you don't know what to say. I was asking, say, what should I say? I say, I'll just say thank you for everyone. And I just want to, when I came back last year from my vacation in Uganda, I found a voice message in my phone, in my machine. It said, hello, this is Patrick McCaskey from the Bears. I said, someone's making jokes with me. So where did he get my phone? So I didn't reply the message, then later on, Angela told me, you're supposed to receive a call from Patrick. I said, oh, I think I did. But I just want to say thank you very much for allowing me to receive this award this year. And I thank everyone who's been part of my life. As I was introduced, I used to be a young professional soccer player. When I give this award to my cousin Ivan, because of him, I wouldn't be here today. I was playing soccer with Ivan when we were 14 in Barcelona Academy. He was struck by lightning and died. And on the funeral, we didn't have mass. So the priests were illiterate. So my mom was crying, my son is buried without mass. That's the moment I quit soccer and said I should become a priest. And after here today, I say, the journey has been long, but of course we have so many people God brings in our life to help us to achieve our goals. So there have been so many people who supported me from when I was young, when I became a priest. My American mother, Kathy, showed me how to drink wine. And above all, I thank very much the community from St. Joe's. I see them around here. They're lovely people. And on behalf of myself and those of you who've made me to become who I am, I say thank you very much.
Kathy, this is American Mom. Kathy, do you want to come up? You sure? She doesn't want to be seen about that.
Thank you, Father. John Shinsky grew up as an orphan. He played football for St. Joseph High School in Cleveland. He was an academic All-American at Michigan State, where he earned a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a doctorate in general and special education. He and his wife Cindy started an orphanage in Mexico. He is here to accept the Sports Faith All-Star College Lifetime Achievement Award. John?
It's certainly a pleasure and an honor to receive this award. As I look around the room and I looked at all the award winners, it just pointed out to me how significant this evening is to so many people in this room. And when I look around the room and I think, you know, how did I get here? And when I stop and think about it, it's because of people like you, people who care, people who have done things, people who have supported communities. And something like this, of building an orphanage, and I have to be honest with you, when you talk about getting a faith award, this project is definitely faith. I had the opportunity at Michigan State playing football my intent, as an orphan, and I was blessed to be able to come up and be able to play football. That opened the door for me for education. And I was going to play professional football. That's what my vision was. At the same time, I had several injuries. I had knee operations, back operations, and I still played after that. And then I decided that professional football, I wouldn't be able to do it with my knees and my backs. But at the same time, I got into education, and God had a bigger plan for me. And that was the orphanage. I went to Parmadale Orphanage when I decided not to play professional football, and I went to see the kids in that orphanage. And when I walked out of the orphanage, I said, "Dear God, thank you for the opportunity to be able to be at an orphanage and to be able to be in a foster home and to be able to get an education and to be able to do what I do." And I left that orphanage saying, "Dear God, please bless me. I want to build a home for kids like me." And I went for 8 to 10 to 15, 12 years. And then all of a sudden I met a wonderful woman, my wife Cindy. And things came together, and we had the opportunity to be able to go to various different places, trying to see what would be the right way to be able to provide service back. And I was flying on a plane to Brownsville, Texas to do a consulting, and I was sitting next to a young man on a plane, and I said, "Well, what are you doing?" And he says, "Oh, I'm on spring break, and I'm going down to work at an orphanage, and they have rats and everything there." I said, "Well, why don't you tell me more? Send me something on it." He sent me something on it. I flew down to Mexico. I sat down with the people. I said, "What can I do to help you?" And I thought they were going to say food and clothing and so on. And they said, "We need a new orphanage." And it was at that time that I went ahead and we brought some Michigan State students up. We ended up working down there, built 4 buildings for them and gave it to them. And then a businessman said to me, he said, "John," he says, "I appreciate what you're doing down here. If I donate 7 acres of land, will you build an orphanage?" And I said, "Yes." Now, the irony of this particular story is this. I didn't even know Matamoros existed. If someone said to you tonight, "I want you to go to Matamoros, Mexico, I want you to go to anywhere to build an orphanage," without knowing anybody, even though it existed, it doesn't happen. It happens with miracles, and it happens with faith. And that's what the bottom line is. I could never have done it without Cindy. I could have never done it without my best friend, Joe DeLamelier. And being able to come together with people to be able to make this happen. So once we started getting the orphanage underway and we started getting things going, then it wasn't too long after that I had to stop and realize how I was blessed to be able to do this. And many times you don't even know what cause, you don't know what your path is in life, you don't know what your mission or value is in life. But I will tell you this, the one person that I've never had the opportunity to stop and thank for me being able to be recognized this evening for this and for being able to build an orphanage was my mother. And at the age of 8, my mother had to make a very serious decision of giving up her 8-year-old child because we were in a tough neighborhood. My dad died. I had 7.5 brothers and sisters, and a couple of them were in jail, and she just knew it wasn't right for me. And she went across the street to the Catholic Church in Lorain, Ohio, Nativity Church, and said, "What can I do for my son?" And they said, "Well, maybe an orphanage might be good for him," because I was, on the verge of trouble. So she gave me up. And I never could understand it. How could a mother give a child up, an 8-year-old child? I can't give up a dog, But how could a mother do that? And later in my life, I was able, after 18, after I was awarded the state, I went out from Parmadale Orphanage. I went to a foster home, and then I went back to revisit my mother to get a chance to re-meet her. And I went and re-met her and went to our house in Lorain, Ohio. And then I went back home and I started thinking, I put a phone in. She didn't have any way of communicating or anything like that, so I put a phone in. And I went back and I called her. And I needed an answer to the question. There was no answer that could appease me. So I finally asked her the question. I said, "Mom, why did you give me up?" And she said, "I gave you up because I loved you more than myself." And it was at that moment when I heard that from my mother that I said, I have to do something with my life, because this mother gave up her child for a better life, and I was blessed with a better life. To be able to go to Cleveland St. Joseph High School, to go into a foster home and have people share their home with you, with their family, and to be able to go to a great high school, Cleveland St. Joseph High School, with those kinds of blessings and those kinds of things coming together. That was a gift that I could never give. So I'm here because of her. And unfortunately, she never had the chance to be able to see my successes, because I brought her up to my graduation when I got my doctorate degree at Michigan State. It was the first time, really it was the second time I saw her after she gave me up, and she met my foster family and so on. I brought her up. She didn't have any money or anything really. I got her hair done and got her a nice outfit and everything, and took her to my graduation. She went back home. The next night I called her and I said, Mom, I said, I really appreciate you coming here and seeing me be able to get this doctorate. And I said, I'm a teacher and I have a life insurance policy. And I said, if something happens to you or happens to me, I'll take care of you. And I said goodbye. The next day, Monday, I came home and I had a message on my answering machine. And it was from the coroner's office of Lorain, Ohio. And they said, your mother died of a brain aneurysm. So I went back and buried her in the same outfit that I bought her for the graduation. And at that time, you know, I stopped and I thought, God blessed her to be able to see me accomplish what I did, you know, based on the sacrifice that she did. She wasn't, you know, she wasn't a sophisticated person, and she never got recognized. She never came to an event like this to be able to get a beautiful trophy for doing something, and she made the greatest sacrifice any mother could do, and to give me the opportunity to be here, to be able to get this tonight. So I always recognize the fact that it's not just about me. It's about so many people. It started with my mother, and with Cindy, and with Joe, and with so many other people who have come together to allow the children at our orphanage now to be able to have a new life, educational opportunities. And the important thing about that, I want you to know, you know what, we don't say to the kids, we're not down there taking care of kids to give them meals and to take care of them, give them schooling, and then let them go. Our kids are beautiful kids, and I guarantee you, you'd love them. We've got 17 high school graduates now, and our kids are just plain beautiful kids. But our kids understand that we're making an investment in them, just like my mother did in me. She made an investment in me, and here I am. We're making an investment in our kids at the orphanage, and our kids understand that we want them to take our place someday in the future and make a difference. And we want our kids to be right here, to be able to receive these kinds of awards for the same kinds of things, for all the different things that people have done in here. And so I could go on, but I will tell you one last thing to leave you with. When we talk about faith, I'm going to tell you, I had a secretary in Lansing Public Schools named Jerry Richardson. She was a pastor of a church in Battle Creek. And she came to work, she was building a church, and she came to work and said, John, I prayed to God and he gave me this. I prayed to God and he gave me that. I prayed to God. Oh, Jerry, I said, Jerry, I wish that could happen for me someday to help somebody. I will tell you what, no one can convince me that there are not miracles. There are miracles after miracles after miracles. And I'll just give you one before I leave tonight from this podium. Cindy and I were up there working, trying to build the orphanage, and Cindy said to me, John, we don't have enough money to build this orphanage. And I said, I know. I came back home. I had $4,000. I took that $4,000 and invested it into a penny stock. I've never done it before. I did it one time. I never done it again since then. In 4 days, it turned into $65,000. I put it into the Capital Region Community Foundation, and that started our buildings for the orphanage. And then it went on and on and on. But I can tell you miracle after miracle after miracle. So the meaning and value of this wonderful recognition this evening has a lot of different components for me. It stems from my mother, it stems from my wife, it stems from my brother Joe, and all the other things, but I will tell you this, the recognition that we're all receiving, that everyone's receiving here tonight, and the things that you continue to do in communities based on faith and based on the values of this organization make a difference and changes lives and impact lives. And the greatest thing about this award this evening is that God picked us to be able to do his work, to make a difference in the lives of others. So thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to get this award. God bless you.
Hold on, Gary, I'm gonna get a picture of Joe, Delano Lair, the three of them. Can we get you in a picture? There you go, your brother Joe. And then we'll do one with your wife.
Gotta get your bikes.
Cindy?
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll get one with your wife. Hold on, one with Cindy. Can't forget your co-founder.
Right, absolutely. Here, can you hold that, Tim?
You're good.
You might have room for a bishop in this one.
Please.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. All right, Bishop.
I want us to squeeze together.
Wow.
Oh, I better turn this around.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice talk. Thank you.
Thank you, John. The Benedictine College football team of Atchison, Kansas, attended the school president's Wednesday morning rosary throughout the entire season. They made it to the NAIA National Championship game. Steve Minnis is the school president. Charlie Gartenmayer is the athletic director and the defensive coordinator. Larry Wilcox is the head football coach. And Larry is here to receive the Sports Faith Collegiate Team of the Year award.
Hello, Larry. How are you? Good. Thank you, Pat. Thank you to Sports Faith International for this award, to Benedictine College and to Raven Football. We had an outstanding year and had a lot of fun with our season. Gosh, those are a couple hard guys to follow. Even Christmas guys. We just won some football games. That's about all we did. The two miracles that maybe have had happen recently is my players have put up with me for 40 years. So that's one. And my wife for 35 years, 11 months, 8 days, and 2 hours. Okay? Steve Minnis, our president, would very much have liked to have been here this evening. However, this is our alumni weekend, so there are hundreds of our alumni who are on our campus, and obviously he needed to be there for that, as well as it's also an enrollment weekend for our incoming freshman class. So that's pretty important to a small college, that freshman class. So he sends his greetings and thanks. Mr. McCaskey was on our campus several weeks ago to speak to his leadership class and meet with some of our student athletes as well, and we were sure glad to have him do that. I grew up in East St. Louis, Illinois, so I was always a Cardinal baseball fan, and the Cubs were the arch enemy. However, I was a Cardinal football fan, but also a Bears fan because of the tradition of the Chicago Bears and the iconic players that they had, and of course the coach they had in George Halas. So even though I couldn't admit it to my friends, I was always a Bears fan. Several of Pat's sisters attended Mount St. Scholastica College. We were a women's college, Mount St. Scholastica, and a men's college, St. Benedict's College. We've got tons of alumni in the Chicagoland area, and so we had that contact as well. We've been fortunate to win a lot of football games, win a lot of conference championships, national playoffs games. I have one of the rings, many rings that we have. The players like them. I'm not such a big fan of them, but I wore this one because our quarterback for this particular year, Chris Tabor, was this small quarterback with a fiery spirit and a hard-headed, nobody can beat me kind of attitude, and now he's the special teams coordinator for the Chicago Bears. So that gives us one more tie to that organization, which we appreciate. But anyway, thank you for this award. Our players, gosh, we're so fortunate to have the kind of players that we have had. I always feel like whether it's Pee Wee football or the NFL, the team with the best players typically is going to win. Fortunately, many great players have chosen to come and be a part of our program over the years because of what we offer there and the quality of the academic programming, but also because we are a Catholic college. And that is something that we are not ashamed to say, that we are a Catholic college. Our campus was consecrated this past fall to Mary, and our college has gone through an amazing resurgence in recent years. We've built over $250 million of new buildings. We've got a beautiful campus that sits on the bluff of the Missouri River. Right now it's a little flooded there, but other than that, it's a beautiful setting, and it's a great place for a young person to not only get a great education, but also to be in an environment where they can express their faith. And we have multiple daily masses every day, and our students are actively involved in that aspect of their life, and we're very proud of that for both our athletes and our non-athletes. I'd also ask for any Benedictine College Raven alumni in the house to stand up, if you would. Do we have any? Oh, we got one back there. Thank you very much for this award. We appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Good to see you again.
Chris Tabor said it was a 96-yard touchdown run, not a 92.
It's a record in the Metrodome. This is heavy.
Yes.
She'd be mad at me now. She's picture shy.
Thank you. So it's kind of interesting. We've got two Michigan State grads in here, and I didn't get asked to come up there and take a picture with them because I'm a U of M guy. Okay. First of all, thank you for this honor. I have to be honest with you. When I got the call, I got off the phone and I told my wife that I'm receiving this award. And so you have to know my wife, she's Italian-Irish. She goes, for what? So, you know anything about my wife, it's kind of like, okay. But, you know, coming from the Cleveland area today, I drove about 6-7 hours. I've got two kids who live here in the Chicago area now, and so I kind of know going back and forth a bunch. And I wanted to kind of reflect on what can I present to this group of where I've been and what I've been through. And it was interesting when I walked into the room today, I saw these young men sitting here. Now you gotta remember, I'm a St. Joe's grad, just like John is. Small world here. I'm the head football coach, athletic director, and the director of an urban student program at St. Joseph High School through the Marinus program. So when I saw these young individuals sitting here, it dawned on me, what can I bring to them as a football coach and as a person who is really not living his own life, but Christ living within them? What's the message that I can give them? And this is this. You have men in this room that have played at the highest levels of professional football or college or whatever it is. And you have people that have business leaders at the highest profession that they can get to. Listen to this, guys. Okay? So I'm getting my master's over at St. Mary's Seminary in Wickliffe, Ohio. And so I sat down taking my hermeneutics class. And one of our seminarians was giddy because they sat next to him. And he wanted to talk about football. Asked me thousands and thousands and thousands of questions about my playing days and everything. And I just had to kind of laugh. After class was over, I was walking through the halls with him. And I said, do you understand that you're going to do something greater than I've ever done in my life, or anybody else can do in their lives? Does that make sense? Right? I've been sitting here at this table here with these men here. Right? They've been called by God. Very, very unbelievable calling that none of us, and some of us in this room, have never experienced that. They're doing something greater than what we can achieve. Yes, you can win a Super Bowl ring. You can win the Lombardi Trophy. You can win trophies. You can play at the highest level in professional football. You can all do that. But to be called by God, and to serve God and His people, that's an amazing call. When I talk to men's conferences around the country, let me say this, and I want no disrespect to the men who play football in this room. This is what I tell men's conferences, and I've spoken everywhere, 3,000, 2,000 men. If I drew a white line right here on this floor right here, and I take a crazy oblong kind of football, right? And I take that ball, and I pass it over that line, and you call it 7 points. And you get paid millions and millions of dollars for it, and you get honored and praised, okay? But really, is that the fulfillment of a real life? I've been there. I was in your shoes many years ago, and have gotten to the highest position as an NFL quarterback. How many NFL teams? What, 30? 32? I don't even know. I was one of 30-odd men in the world to play quarterback in the NFL. It's an amazing thing. But here you have men who have given their lives to God Himself. What is the greater? Pretty shocking, right? Your life has been given to you as a gift, created in the image and likeness of God. Do you have talent to play this game that we love? Absolutely. Play it to the fullest. But know this. Here's a guy, okay, that I wish that all these successes that I had, that I truly believed and hoped that Christ was all part of that. Was He? Yes. Did I acknowledge it? No. If I could have done it all over again, am I going to sit here and say, hey, if I did it all over again, I would never play professional football? Absolutely not. But I will tell you this, one piece of advice. Make sure Christ is part of it. Because what you can do is greater than the ultimate of winning a ring. What do you think that is? That's the golden calf. If you have Christ there with you through it, all of it, just imagine what you could accomplish. There's great examples of great miracles, of people doing unbelievable things. Where do you think that comes from? God's grace. to be able to accept that into your heart and let that be a part of you. That's what he's calling you to do. He's giving you a gift. Use that gift to the fullest. You can accomplish what you want. But let me give you something. Make sure Christ is there with you. Because anything that you dream of will be fulfilled. Again, thank you. Thank you for this honor.
Those are two tough acts to follow, John and Elvis. But I'm Catholic all the way through and through. I'm the 9th of 10 children, and my dad's one of 13. I married the girl around the block. She's the oldest of 8. So we have big Catholic families. I'm one of those guys who goes to Mass every day. I try to. Once in a while I'll miss it now and then. I said that allows me to. I think that allows me to swear once in a while. But I don't think it does. But they go, why do you go every day? I said, because sometimes I swear. But I wanted to say this about John. My dad only went to 3rd grade. My mother went to 8th grade. And my dad used to tell me, I didn't go to kindergarten. He said it was overrated. You don't need it. And he had a bar, which is, that was a bar not like your drinking bar. It was a working man's bar. You go in there and get a bowl of chili, cheeseburger, hamburger. We had like 5 items. And then you'd pass, it was like the soup Nazi on Seinfeld. A little window, you go in, get your order, come out, and he'd have it for you. So that's how we grew up. The bar was open 7 in the morning till 2:30 at night, 7 days a week. Closed Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter. That was it. And then when you got to 7th grade, guys, and you were a boy in our house, you went and cleaned the bar with your brothers from 2:30 till 5:30. Then we wake my dad up, take a little cat nap, and go to school. And my mother had to go to school once when I was in 8th grade, and the nun said, Mrs. Lomware, Joseph is always yawning. She goes, give him a break, sister. He's working nights. 8th grade. And so that's how I grew up. I never planned on going to college. I just played football because my older brothers played, and I was at this school, St. Clement's. I started to get better and better. I got better because my brothers beat me up. They never let me on their team. I was never on a team of theirs. They made sure I played the opposite team, and they beat the heck out of me. So that's how I got tough. So when I go to high school, I started getting recruited. I got recruited by Bo Schembecker. I was like one of his first recruits. And then my dad told me you can go anywhere you want. He didn't want me to go to college. He goes, I don't care where you go. Just go wherever you want, you go. So it comes down to the time. It's not like now where they take the hats and put it on their head like everything's, no, you're just going to this school or that school. There's no announcements. So I told my dad, he said, well, today's the day. You got to make up your decision. Where are you going? I don't care where you go, he said. I said, oh, good, I'm going to Michigan because Coach Schembecker. Oh, man, I love that guy. John loved him, too. I think we had the same personality. And my dad says, you can't go there. I go, why? He said, I can't spell the guy's name. I go, are you kidding me? Look at Delamolier. He said, I can't spell his name. He said, where else you want to go? I said, I'm going to go to Notre Dame then, because Big Cat. He goes, that guy's a friggin' phony. I said, who? He said, Parseghian. He's a Protestant coaching at Notre Dame. You're not going there. He goes, you go to Michigan State because Duffy Doherty's Catholic. That is the only white reason I went to Michigan State. The only reason. Could you imagine that happening nowadays, right? So I go to Michigan State, and I'm leaving that day. My dad, I'm like Forrest Gump in my family. Nobody's done anything. Now I'm going to Michigan State. So my dad doesn't want to take me up there. My mother's going to drop me off. So my mother and my sister take me up to Michigan State, and I'm leaving. I go to my dad's bar. I go, Dad, I'm leaving. Today's the day I'm leaving. He said, good. And I said, any advice? He said, yeah, I'll give you some advice. You go find the meanest, ugliest son of a gun there and the toughest guy you've ever seen, and you kick his butt, maybe you'll be a football player. So I go, hey, cool. I'm there. So I go to Michigan State. We have a big room, 120 freshmen were in there, and I'm looking around the room. There are about this many people, I guess. And there he is. I look at him. That's the guy I'm going against. He's the meanest looking kid I've ever seen in my life. And we just kind of worked it out, so we went against each other our freshman year. And he made me a better player. And they asked me when I retired, who was the toughest player you ever played against? I played against Joe Green, Merlin Olsen, Dick Buckus, all the guys. I said, John Shinsky. They said, who in hell is he? I said, he played football at Michigan State. And John and I became friends. And John made a big impression on me to this day. I always carry one of these because we were freshmen, and he was the meanest guy in the world, and he carried a rosary around. I go, what are you doing? Oh, I say this every night. You know, this. So I go, oh, really? So he says a rosary. I said, man, I'm going to start doing that. Maybe I'll get tough like him. So I started praying the rosary because what he said back in 1969. So anyhow, I got drafted by the Buffalo Bills. I played with O.J. Simpson. I never missed a game. I never missed a practice. And that's by the grace of God. And I am telling you, the nuns for me, we had the Dominican nuns. I had 4 older brothers. They're all tough guys. And none of them played college. None of them went to college. The one nun told me in 5th grade, you're going to be different than all your brothers. God's got a plan for you. You're going to be different. So she gave me a medal of St. Sebastian, guy's patron saint of athletes. She said, you're going to be different. I still have the medal. I wear the medal all the time. It's been torn off hundreds of times, and I find another one and go buy it. But she said, he'll protect you. And Pat, you got to know this. I never missed a game or a practice. Since 5th grade, I played till I was 35. I played arena ball when I was 42. So this is all great stuff for football, but God blessed me with John because he's an orphan, and we had 4 children. My wife was the oldest of 8. I'm the 9th of 10. So we said, well, we want in between there. We want 9 children. So my wife had 4 children. Then she had miscarriages, said you can't have any more children. So, and we wanted 9. We wanted to balance it out between our 2 families. So John was adopted, or brought into foster care. So we didn't know what to do, and we didn't want to take an American kid from an American family. So we looked for foreign kids. So I adopted a Korean boy when he was 2. First of all, they said, do you want to adopt a Korean? I said, yeah, not a boy, though. I'm like really, they would call me a racist, but I'm not. I said, buck teeth, glasses, camera, I'm not doing it. I'm an Asian boy. So that's how I thought, but they called me up, and they called, hey, we got a little baby for you. He was just born, or he was just born. It was a he. And my wife was working. She's working as a nurse, and I was coaching at this time. I was done with football when we were adopting this one. And I said, what is it? And he said, little boy. I said, I'll take it. So I called my wife up right away. Hey, we got a kid. What's her name? I said, no, it's a boy. She goes, I thought you didn't want a boy. I said, well, I'd take a boy. We got a boy now. It was like ice cream, like this ice cream. I'm eating it. I'm taking that kid. So once Andy turned 2, my son Andy, my wife said, let's get another child so we can bring him in. And we adopted an older boy. He was 5. He was abandoned. Really tough life. Couldn't speak English. Could say G.I. Joe ice cream and Coca-Cola. That was it. So we got these kids going in school, and then I started coaching high school, and 2 African-American kids, they just couldn't settle down in their homes. So God brought those kids to us. So my wife says, we'll bring them in. They can come live with us. Then another boy who ended up at Michigan State and playing with the Colts this first year, he came and lived with us. So we ended up with 9 anyhow. And that never in a million years would you say you're going to get 9 that way. When we had our 4, we thought that was it. And we actually ended up with 9 kids. They've all graduated from college. Now we have 12 grandchildren. And it is unbelievable how God works in your life. If you saw John Shinsky as a freshman at Michigan State, he would have been the most likely to go to jail. He knows that's true. And he doesn't drink. Neither one of us drink. I go, that guy doesn't drink either. He's just nuts. So we became lifetime friends, and then John called me and he said, we got to make some money for this orphanage. I go, how? You know, what are you going to do? He said, we'll ride a bike to Mexico. John, tell the truth, I never rode a bike in my life, did I? Never. I said, I'll do it. And I'm 57 years old at this time. I went and took lessons from this lady who's a big cyclist, like she's top 10 in the nation. I was living in Charlotte. I got on the bike the first day. She goes, "Hey, bud, you're not going to do it. You can't do it. You're not coordinated enough." I said, "Just teach me. I'll come every day." So I came every day for a couple weeks. And she goes, "Oh my God, you can make it. You can do it." So I learned how to ride the bike, and we went to Mexico from Michigan State, and we did 2,000 miles in 18 days. And it was really tough. We started at the 50-yard line in Michigan State. My other college roommate became the director of the Secret Service under Bill Clinton. He played football. He rode with us. And we got off Michigan State's campus like 3 miles. And I go, "How much farther?" So all this happened, and nobody in a million years would expect me and John Shinsky and L.J. Bauer and our other, he became the director of the Secret Service at age 43. The three of us, we were 3 teammates, and we just bonded as freshmen. And who would ever believe we'd ever have an opportunity to build an orphanage? And John did it all. He found the land, he found the kids, he got his doctorate. He's the one who did it. And I can't tell you how far, I don't want to say he came, how far God brought him. And when I go to Mass, I always say this, and I'll close with this. I always say, "God, when I give communion, I say, put me in the right place at the right time to serve the most people I can." And it happens time after time after time. I'll run into all kinds of people that need help. And I go, "Oh, thank you, God, this must be the guy," and or the girl. I walked from Buffalo, New York to Canton, Ohio for a kid with prosthetics. This is the last one. I'll just end with this. The kid was trying to raise money for prosthetics. They cost like 120 grand, which I didn't know. Once you turn 18, the Shriners don't help you anymore. So he was raising money, so I called up the Hall of Fame. I said, "Look, this kid's name is Joe. The guy at the Hall of Fame's name is Joe." I said, "I want to walk from Buffalo, New York to Canton, Ohio and raise money for this kid so he can get prosthetics." Not only did he get the prosthetics, he got a job with the company that makes the prosthetics in Oklahoma. Now, how does that happen? And he was selling, when I met this kid, I was in Charlotte, he was selling donuts at Krispy Kreme, out in front of the Krispy Kreme with big packages of donuts. I said, "What are you doing?" He stood up and then he moved his legs. He said, "Trying to buy some new legs." But God puts you in these positions. You just got to get your eyes open. And you guys, you're young, and I've had a lot of kids come through our house, both. You got to wake up and look around and see how you can help people, because that's going to be your ticket to success. It's not all about you. It's about helping other people. And it's that simple. It's not difficult at all. But thank you very much. Thanks for John and Cindy and Elvis Blake. Thank you for doing this.